Hi guys, this is Ravenclaw What If. Welcome back to another What If story. Now this is what if female Deku had a wolf mutation and semblance? Part 1. Now before we begin our story, I'm just going to give you a brief information wise. This will be very brief. Um the name of the weapon I chose for Kinide is Void Stalker. One of the main reasons I picked this weapon because it matches Salem's color scheme of her outfit. Because she has a lot of black and red on her, so that's major the way I chose that weapon specifically because of the color scheme, and I like um I like the weapon itself because it's very multitaskable in certain situations. So okay, we got that out of the way. We're going to start get into canon. Oh, sorry, Ruby canon material. How I'm gonna start this. How I'm gonna start the canon is I'm gonna do a scene before I do the canon part. Then we'll go into where Torchwitch, and Ruby first meet in that store where they try to rob her. Yeah, that didn't go too well for Torchwitch, but it makes sense for what I got planned for the story. So I need to do this part first. Now I might not pronounce these names correctly because I'm not major well versed in the Ruby universe like I am with Hero Academia. So it's gonna take some. It's gonna take me a little bit to learn everything. So bear with me if I make mistakes and name a couple things wrong. Because I think what's I think the powder stuff that's in the store. I think they call it dusk, but I'm not totally sure. But I'm just gonna call it dust for plot's sake because it's easier to say it because I already got used to saying that for some reason. So all right, let's begin our episode. Where we start off where you have Kennedy and I keep forgetting her name. Give me a second here. As Kennedy and Cinder, they're in a building near close to the part of the city where Ruby, goes to the store and Torchwick goons try to rob her. So they're not too far away from the place, but they're in their own little secret abandoned building. Their safe house. Cinder, can you trust this guy? No, Lady Kennedy. Because I'm saying she would refer her to lady like a lot because she's the daughter of her boss. So she knows. At first, she was kind of cold towards Kennedy when she first arrived, but they slowly got a bond going. Nothing romantic, anything like that. It's only be one ship for this, but Cinder and Kennedy, they act more like, sisters than anything else. Kennedy looks at her as the older sister because, Cinder is older than Kennedy. And she's like, I wouldn't trust him. No, you can't trust that one. Besides, besides, he'll backstab you any chance he gets. But the man has his uses, and for this specifically operation, he's more than adequate for the job. If he betrays Salem, you could kill him. As Kinsey gives a smile. Good. So, Cinder, are you correct on the intel we gathered on the girl? Cinder's yes, she's been visiting this shop constantly on her routine doesn't really differ. She'll definitely be here later tonight. Very well. As the door walks in, as the man walks in with a cane, as he snaps his cane on the ground, as he steps closer to him, as he gives a bow, takes off his hat, as he's like, "It's always a pleasure, Cinder." Lady Kennedy, this is Torchwick. I really don't care about his other name. As Torchwick's like, "I'm wounded, Cinder. And this must be the Princess of the Grim." Now, for this sake, not sure how close he's into Salem, but he knows, Salem's doing something unnatural, and he wants to stay on toes. So he knows enough to know that she's bad news, but he's continuing working with her just because, for whatever he had reasons in canon. So that won't change. Still in the bowing position, as he's like, "I'm Roman Torchwick. At your I totally forgot what I was going to say. Give me a second. At your leisure." As Kennedy looks at Cinder, serious. Cinder's like, "Yeah, he's like that. Let's get this done. So what do you need from me, ladies?" In this, I don't know if he met Salem, but he hasn't met her yet. He's been doing all his business through Cinder because Cinder is Salem's proxy. That's how I'm gonna make this work. So, but he has heard stories about this mysterious Salem's daughter, and he was quite shocked that it was a faunus of all things. He's in this pose, like in this picture, and she's like, "I need your assistance with something. My mother wants me to get close to a certain target, and according to our intel, she'll be visiting the store a couple blocks from here. I need you to rob it." As Torchwick, intrigued, it's like, by coincidence, I was going to rob that place in a few weeks. As Kennedy's like, "I need you to rob it tonight." As Torchwick, is curious. "And why would you need me to rob such a establishment? I have no problem doing it. No, that's no problem. I'm just mostly curious." Lady Kennedy, as he's put on a charm. "It's simple. My target will be visiting that store tonight, and I want you to rob it. And we'll scuffle a little bit. Then once I make it outside with the target, you will make your escape shortly after we tussle a little bit more to solid ploy." And I know what you're going to say, that's classified information. If my mother decides you need to know, she'll let you know. And if things don't go to according plan for your escape method, Cinder will handle it from there. As Torchwick, "Very well, ladies. I have no problem doing it. You could keep whatever you could take, or whatever you get your hands on. You could take. I don't care about that. I just want to make sure this goes out without a hitch. Do I want to make myself clear, human?" And she's like, "Very clear, Miss Kennedy. Good. Cinder will contact you when I'm in position." As Torchwick leaves, as Kennedy turns to Cinder, "That one's going to be trouble. Keep an eye on him." I want to know what he's been up to. He I just don't trust him. And Cinder's like, of course. So, Cinder, how you been holding up? As Cinder looks at Kennedy, I'm fine, Kennedy. But what about you? As she kneels down, are you going to be okay with this? Doing this? This is your very first episode. Sorry, undercover job. Mother wants me to do it, so I have really no choice, Cinder. But thanks. It's sweet that you care. As long as Mother gets her way, I think I'll be fine. What worries me, Cinder, is how long my mom wants me to play this ploy. It, I don't see the point in me trying to get close to this Ruby Rose. It'd be simple to just kill the girl and be done with it. If she has some sort of ability that would be troubling for Mother, we should snap it out like a twig. But Mom wants me to get close, and we'll have to play this for not sure how long. It's a pain in the ass. I know, little sis. Can I give you a little bit of advice? Sisterly advice. As she smiles. She's normally cold to everyone, but she has a soft spot for it, Kennedy. As don't get close to don't get too close to them. It'll just make your job a whole lot harder. I know you're not weak, but you've never been in this situation before. And whatever happens at the academy in the future, just stick to your cover, stick to your mission. You'll be fine. I'll make sure of that. As some time has passed, as she's walking down the street, as she contacts what's her name? Cinder through the whatever communication she has to contact, her allies. As she's like, I'm in place. Let's say she texts Cinder on her phone. As Cinder receives a text, all right, I'll send Torchwick in here in a couple minutes. As Kent is it very well, sister. As she types it, that's what she says in the text. As she walks in the store, as the cash register guy, whatever, the worker, as he gives her a disgusted look, as he's like, "Hey, you, Faunus, don't cause any trouble." As Kennedy's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, human. I don't worry. I'm not gonna rob you or anything." Saw your store has some sort of, a little bit of music collection over there. I'm gonna check it out. That's why I'm here. So don't worry about it. Don't get a heart attack, old man. As she walks past, as the old man is keeping all the worker at the store, keep an eye on her because she's a Faunus, and Faunus is well known to be people at Beacon because they're really racist against Faunus because some of them, a lot of them like to steal. So that gave like a few bad apples gave the whole group a bad name. From on now forward, she's gonna refer herself a Faunus because that's what she believes she is. Her mother hasn't told her that she has a other power called a quirk. That her parents is just a mutation. She just said her father was a Faunus. So that's the end of that. Kennedy gets back to the area of the store where there's music. I couldn't find a picture of the store online, so I don't like. You would have to see the first season to know what I'm talking about. It's like they have the counter, the crystals, the dust on the far right. Then there's a little section where there's music. Then in the front of the store, there's like a big window that will come into play in a little bit. But let's continue. As Kennedy walks over to, Ruby Rose, she sees her, rocking out on whatever music she's listening to. As she taps her shoulder, as Ruby's like, "Huh?" Yep. As she smiles. Hi. You need something? Yeah. Sorry to bug you. I was just curious what you listen to. You seem to enjoy it quite a bit. As Ruby's like, yeah, it's this so and so band. As they talk for a little bit, socializing with the band that she's interested. I don't know what type of music she will be into, so just use your imagination. So they talk about it, and it's like, yeah, I'll definitely pick that up. As Ruby's like, my I'm being rude. My sister tends to say that a lot. As she sighs, as she's like, I'm Ruby Rose. You are? As sorry, Kennedy. He's like, I'm Kennedy. Very nice to meet you. He's like, you're the first fondness I've met. Yeah, I'm just saying she hasn't met a fondness before. This is the first time. Well, I guess you're in luck, because I'm the best. Yeah, she smiles, a fake smile. I'm that awesome. I like you, Ruby. I think me and you're gonna be good friends. Torchwick approaching the store as he's like, all right, boys, it's showtime. Now remember, you don't have to hold back against the Grim Princess. I've been informed that she could handle herself quite well. I'm curious how good she really is. Let's get the show on the road, boys. As all the men, agree, as they all shake their head up and down as they walk in. As Torchwick walks into the front of the store. Hello, sir. As he points his cane at the man's head. As the man's like, what's going on here? Uh, this is like what you call a old-fashioned robbery. Hand over all your assets and this won't get messy. Now. Crystals, please. You lot, get the dust. Scan out for any other customers. If you find any, rob them too. I really don't care. As Torchwick does his, whole thing, he does in canon as Ruby and Kennedy are just rocking out on some music. She's just having a good time. Just listen to music because she normally can't do that. It's all about training and studies. Her normal routine and fighting Grim, just for practice, keep her skills not from rusting. Salem has Mulder in her own little perfect weapon that she can unleash anytime she wants. The goon behind Kennedy and Rose or Ruby, as he's like, hand over your belongings now, girls, or you won't, or you will. Sorry, hand over your loot now, girls, or you won't be. I totally messed it up. Sorry, guys. I'm drawing a blank here. The man's like, hey, hand over all your belong. Oh, sorry. I can't believe I'm having a hard time with this. This is something should be really simple. Hand over all your belongings, girls, now, or you'll get hurt. Finally. As the man taps on Ruby's shoulder, as she takes off her headphones, so does Kennedy. As the man says again, hand over all your loot, girls, or you're dead. As he's getting irritated. As Ruby's like, you're literally trying to rob me. Yes. As when the man was arguing with, before Ruby could do anything, Kennedy grabs the man by his wrist, flips him over, takes his sword, and kicks him aside the head. As he's like, huh, I was told outside of Fawn territory it would get exciting. Because I will have, I guess my trip to visit, a trip to the town, to the city wasn't for waste after all. Shall we, Ruby? She's like, yeah, I think we shall. As they begin, fighting goons that are in there. Where Tortrick is, it's a small store, so it's not very, it's not very big. As his men look at him, as, sir, what do we do? As Tortrick's like, hello, ladies. I am, let me properly introduce myself. I am Torchwick. Now, will you be so kind to surrender and hand over all your burdens? As Ruby's like, I don't think so. Very well, Red. Guess this have to get messy. What you eat is doing? Attack! As all of them rush, as Kinde gets a smile, as she single-handedly takes all of them out, as Ruby's kind of memorized by how she uses the sword that she totally took from these thugs. As she takes them out easily, as she disarms a couple of them, as Torchwick starts firing on Kennedy, as Kennedy maneuvers very fast, as you only saw like a brief after image, as she's right next to Ruby again. No, no, guys, I got a better idea. As they all surround her, as they have their opponents, all their swords pointing at her, as she's like, "Huh, you guys are more decent than you're more of skill than I thought for mere thugs." As she tosses the sword. Oh, as she tosses the sword as it hits the side of the wall, as and it carves into it. And she's like, "Well, you were better off with me using that sword. I guess I'm gonna have to get rough with you guys." As she takes out Void Striker. As Kennedy grabs Ruby by the waist, as she's like, "Don't want to hurt you, don't want to hurt you. After all, it's not every day I meet a new friend." As she winks at Ruby, she's blushing a little bit because she's not used to this much physical contact. As Kennedy is quite she's quite flirty with a lot of people just because this is how she's gonna play this. How she's gonna play this role. Happy, flirty, flirtatious. I butchered that, by the way. But as she winks at Rose, watch this, hun. As she, as she looks at Tortrix, now don't blink. As she swings her sword, as it extends into the whip stage, as it hits all the swords in a circle, knocking all their swords out of their hands, as it as it whips back into the stage one, as she puts it behind her back, puts it where she keeps it, as she jumps with Rose and holding Ruby by her waist. Let's just say she has her yeah, she still has the sword in her hand, not put away yet. As she extended again with the whip second stage, breaking the window. As she puts it back into place, as she's like, "Catch us, you can." As she jumps backwards outside of the window with Ruby, as she's like, as they land outside, as she's like, "Thanks, Kennedy." Nope, no problem, Ruby. It's more. better if we're out here. We were too confined. It wasn't going to look good for us. Apparently, that one could use. Apparently, his weapon's a freaking firearm. That's lovely. F. Torchwick was clapping as he walked out the door. Most impressive. Most impressive indeed, ladies. Like I always said, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. As he points his cane at Rose, as he begins to fire, as Kennedy reflects the I'm not sure if it's a bullet or a blast, but the thing he shoots out of his cane, as Kennedy reflects it, protecting Ruby. And she's like, that's not going to work. As Torchwick smiles. As she steps in a stance, as she's like, Ruby, handle the stragglers. I'll handle Fancy Pants over here. As Ruby is like, are you sure? Don't worry. If I need your help, I'll call out. And she's like, okay. As she begins, Ruby mopping the floor with the rest of the goons, unleashing her sight as she's just doing what she did in canon with this guy as well. I kind of went a little bit past. I took the direction not exactly like canon, but the same events happen somewhat. Torchwick and Kennedy are fighting it out. As Torchwick noticed some rose petals like behind him, as he's like, "Oh shit!" As he blocks, as Ruby comes in, swinging her scythe, as Torchwick just moves out of the way, as she goes flying forward, rolling. As Kennedy stops her with her foot, as she's like, "You're right." As she's like, "Yeah, I wasn't expecting that." And she's like, just laughing it off. As Torchwick, oh, ladies, as much as I enjoy our time together, this is where I take my leave. As he points his cane at them both, as he fires a flashbang, as Ruby and Kinde cover their eyes. Well, technically, Kinde goes in front of Ruby to make sure it's not nothing, threatening, because she has to befriend the girl and get their trust. As Ruby's like, we can't. As Ruby's like, he's not gonna get away. As she gets up, as she's about to, do her little semblance thing, as she's like, hey, Ruby, can you do that with other people? Can you do it with the other person while doing that? And she's like, yeah, you want to come? And she's like, yeah, of course. We can't let that bastard get away. And she's like, agreed. But be warned, the first time can be kind of woozy. I'll try to be easy. As they, she does her semblance thing, that rose petal thing or whatever. I don't know what it's called. I don't know, but I don't know if she could do it with other people. But I'm just saying for this story, she can. I really don't know because I don't remember her doing that with another person. I believe I saw her once doing it, but I'm not totally sure on that. But anyways, let's continue our story. As they get to the roof where the scene happened, as Torchwick's like stubborn, as a helicopter comes flying, a helicopter comes flying through, as he jumps on. Ruby changes her sights into the gun mode as she starts firing off at the ship. As Torchwick has to duck a little bit because she was aiming at him. As Cinder's like, I'll handle this. No, not yet. As he, I don't know what did he have his explosion. Let's say Cinder handled it. It's like I'll handle it from here. As she throws a fire explosion at the two. As Kennedy covers Ruby as a magical shield. It's Good Witch. So with her semblance. I don't know if she like straight up knows magic or that's her semblance. altogether. I'm not totally sure. I need to look at her back, her look on some content or information on her online. But for now, let's say she just is part of her semblance. I really don't know. You guys probably know better than I do. So leave down a comment down below if it's like her semblance or she just straight up uses magic, just like Salem did. Because I made a mistake of I thought she gained magic after getting into the dip of the Grim Pole, but apparently she already knows magic beforehand. So my bad on the mistake on that. As Cinder and Goodwitch begin their firefight with their Goodwitch's magic abilities. Like she straight up throw like guided magic missiles as Cinder, unleashed its fire at Goodwitch. As after the fight, as Ruby, kept firing on him, as Goodwitch noticed that the girl was next to a Fonz, as while Ruby was attacking, Kennedy was protecting Ruby. Now Kennedy could totally wreck shit. Like one gaster blaster, that little airship or whatever he's on, like the helicopter thing, would be dust. But she's not trying to kill them. As as Goodwitch begins to assault, as what happened in Heck Cannon happens. It happened as let me try this again. As Torchwick and Cinder get away, as Goodwitch is like, darn it, they got away. As Ruby looks excited seeing Goodwitch, she's like, "Are you a huntress? Can I get your autograph?" As after she said that, we cut to the next scene where they're both in that room with they're being interrogated, both of them at the same time, and we're gonna stop it there. As they're about to be the next part, we'll go through the interrogation with Miss Goodwitch and Osvin on them activities, breaking the law and such without a hunter's license. We'll go into that, and we'll go into the exam and forming teams and stuff like that. So we'll get on to the next part. I hope you guys have a good night and day, judging my time zones. All right, bye.